Hey everybody, and welcome to a Wednesday night case update edition of the True Crime Squad. Hello,
Hello.
this is Katie Weaver, and I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. How's it going?
It's pretty good. I
Well,
was a
great.
little slowish and late to the game, but it's good now.
You know, it's what it is.
Right. It is. I was tired. I laid down for a while, and then I looked at the clock, and it was 5 minutes till, and I was like,
I feel like I always wait till it's about 5 minutes till to look in the mirror, and then I'm like, oh God.
That's the first thing. I'm like, does my hair need to go? Oh, no.
I look like a troll. Gotta do something fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually a troll doll with this hair, but it's whatever.
Right. We just do the best we can, right?
It's true. It's just fine. Yeah. Well, want to welcome everybody in the chat. Say hi to Cranky, Barbara, Colleen, Amy, RJ, Fran, Janet, Tracy, who happens to be mourning. Good morning, Tracy. Janet, Rhombohedral. Hey, haven't seen you in a minute.
Yeah.
Good to have you guys here. Holy hell. Some weeks we throw in like a cold case or something like that because there's not a lot. And this week, I feel like we'll be auctioneers. Hey, Brandy, Paula.
Yeah, there is a lot. There's a lot happening.
Yeah. Colleen? I don't think I said hi to Colleen. Oh, I did. Okay. And Jacqueline. Yeah. So much going on. Good Lord. Yeah.
Mhm.
So let's start with some not news that we always think is kind of funny news. Mark Means tweeted again.
Yes, he did.
He actually tweeted twice, but the other one was about Trump and Ted Cruz and blah, blah, blah. That's a whole another show of criminals. We don't want to talk about that. We're doing fun stuff. So this isn't all fun. But Mark Means tweeted. So that's news. So here you go. Oh, hold on. Okay. Mark, he retweeted an article by the Chicago Tribune. The headline says, allegations of inappropriate witness contact by R. Kelly prosecutor raises temperature as trial nears. Mark Means says, surprised? Unfortunately, no. Prosecutors under pressure for cheap, fast convictions. The mindset that prosecutors meet with and interview witnesses when it is the police/detective job is insane. It's a cancer in our legal system. Okay, little Marky Means. Well, what did people think about this quote or this tweet? What did they think? Well, real American hero Rebecca said, "You are a disgrace. Shut up."
That was absolutely, yeah.
Thank you, Rebecca. We are fangirls.
Yes, we
Will
are.
Marley's ghost also threw out a gift that was another zinger. And then Jeanette said, "You're a clueless cancer in our legal system. Criminal law is way outside of the scope of your practice, and you should be disbarred."
I mean,
so that's how peeps
don't
felt
mince
about
words.
that tweet. Every opportunity to diss on prosecutors he takes. And what kills me about it is the Vallow case was his first, as we can tell, his first criminal case. Why does he hate prosecutors so much? Is it all because of his rabid hate for Rob Wood? Is it?
I don't know.
Is there more?
He just, opens the door so wide for anyone who would like to take him down. Did you see Colleen said that he blocked her? Well, I'm betting that these two ladies are about to get blocked too, but
yeah, I'm sure.
That just did my heart good right there.
Shut up.
Yeah. my God. That was so great.
Mark is Mark's biggest fan. This is
Yeah.
true. Speaking of R. Kelly, as we know, R. Kelly, him's getting his money taken.
Yes.
So somehow he's managed to get $28,000 on his books, which we believe is coming from his fans. Horrifically, this fool still has fans. And the courts, as we reported earlier this week, have said, not happening. You don't get to just have all that money, stupid. You owe the courts $140,000. So we'll be
Right.
taking that. We'll leave you 500
Yep.
because he doesn't get to just have that
No,
anymore.
he definitely does not. And yeah, that's hilarious. Here's
Mhm.
$500. Enjoy your ramen noodles.
Yep. Yep. So we'll keep an eye on that, but we will continually think that's hilarious.
Yes, forever. Amy said he's mad because he worked so hard to get Woods thrown out, and all he could do was get himself thrown out. Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, that commissary stuff must be pretty spendy.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. I'll bet Pryor's
Uh,
wishing Mark was still around to file nonsense to confuse the judge. Oh, not so fast, Paula. He's working on it real hard himself.
He is. He surely is.
There's quite a lot going on in Daybell. And as we know, there is court on Tuesday. And we'll be there Tuesday morning. We're going to go. It's at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. So we think that East Idaho News is going to be streaming it, but we're going to try to go because this is the first time that Lori and Chad are going to be in the same courtroom together. It's also the first time they will be in the same room together in more than 2 years, and it's going to get interesting. So we're hoping to be there. So we'll see what happens. The courtroom has not been very busy up to this point, so we're hoping to just be able to walk right in. We'll see. So that's the plan, and we think we'll probably live tweet it or live update it on our Facebook page. Maybe one of us will do one and one will do the other or something along those lines, but we'll keep you in the know, and then we'll maybe do a live in the afternoon, or we'll do something to make sure that we update you guys on what we saw, heard, felt, experienced, so on and so forth. Janet said, I need detailed notes. I'm talking side-eye glances, what Lori was wearing, how Toadface looks, etc. We're here for it. Yes, Janet.
We'll do
We
our
are
best.
here for it. Don't let Chad hypnotize you. We won't. We will steer clear of the golden vagina. We're
much
going to be
immune.
okay.
So yeah.
Yep. Will they emulate the Crumbleys by flirting with each other? I'll bet they never look at each other. I'll bet they don't. But I don't know.
Yeah, they've had.
I bet Lori
years of
shouts,
no
hello,
contact.
my king. Well, JR,
Oh, JR.
that would make my week, really. Month, maybe. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
It's going to be good. Watch out for loin fires. Yes.
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 Also, don't walk through a portal no matter what he says. Says Greenberg.
I would just send us $10 to enjoy court. Thank you, ma'am. We'll use it for the coffee that we'll need before and the wine we'll need after.
Right.
But we had thought when we started talking about this last week, we had assumed that this was about the DNA testing. And indeed it is. So that's what court is about. So essentially, as far as we know from what's been filed so far, Chad Daybell's attorney and an affidavit that he has from his DNA expert. This is a guy named Greg Hampickian. He's a Boise State professor. He wants to observe extraction, be notified of results, and wants half of DNA for further testing if there's a sufficient amount. Unfortunately, they have said over and over again that there isn't a sufficient amount.
Right.
And that's why this is a challenge, because it is consumptive. Whatever they will have to use to do the testing is what they have. So it's going to get kind of dicey. It kind of feels like Pryor going, but Your Honor, I don't want them to do DNA testing. They'll make my client look guilty.
Yeah.
However, one thing that the professor has already said in the affidavit is that he believes that some of this testing is uncalled for because, like the shovel handle, because it was Chad's shovel. So surely Chad's DNA will be on the shovel. Yes, sir. But will Lori's? Will Alex's? Come on, man. Will Tylee's
Will
blood?
Tylee's or JJ's?
Yeah. Come on, bro. I mean, that's the stupidest argument. But well, they're going to make stupid arguments because stupid is all they've got at
Mhm.
this point. So they are this is basically what they're working on and looking at. So that is going to be on Tuesday. So we're excited.
Yeah, this will be very interesting.
Yeah. Now, is it normal for the defense to try to get evidence thrown out? Hell yeah. And in this
Oh
case,
yeah.
that's all they've got, is all this procedural mumbo jumbo. So yeah, of course they're going to do that. Of course they are.
But there's I just don't see that there's any way that the judge would say, yeah, you can't process the DNA. Like
Hmm.
the physical evidence from the scene has to be processed.
Hmm.
I'm sure that it will just be you can have your whoever witness it, blah blah blah. It'll all be videoed, all that stuff.
Hmm.
But the judge is not going to say, yeah, we're not processing this DNA. I just cannot see that.
Yeah. No, me neither. It's not going to happen. I feel like court's going to be interesting though, because there's also all of those things that were filed that have been, we haven't really had privy to yet. Uh, the uh, the injunction that was filed, or yeah, well, it was a petition for injunctive relief that both Chad and Lori have filed, and we still think this all has to do with the DNA. That all of those filings are about what we're going to see on Tuesday, to the best of our knowledge. And then, of course, we also know that Lori Hellis, who is a true crime podcaster, an author, and a retired attorney, has filed with the courts to unseal all of these sealed documents because she believes that a lot of them have been sealed improperly, which is the belief of a lot of legal minds that are taking a look at this case. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. Lori is a straight up hero for doing that. She's doing the thing that everyone has wanted someone to do, but wasn't really like us qualified to do. But she's
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah. 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 It's true. You would think Pryor would want someone else's DNA or fingerprints on the shovel so he could say someone else used it. Yeah. No shit, right? Yeah.
I think.
I have not heard if they have decided which lab is going to test.
I
Maybe
haven't
we'll learn
either.
that
I
on
think that might be
Tuesday.
part of this hearing
Yeah. Yep.
because the state lab did not want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So,
No. I really feel like they were like, we just aren't enough for what we do here, the size we have, the skills we have. We don't want to F this up. It's consumptive. No.
right.
They didn't want to
Yeah.
do it. And good on them, right?
Mhm.
Good on them for deciding maybe we aren't the right place for it. There was no ego here. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's excellent because, yeah, I mean, if it gets messed up, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. That would suck a lot. It would be terrible. Yeah. So that's what's going on in Daybell Vallow. So of course we'll keep you posted and we'll
Hmm.
be here for it in some way. So let's see. Oh, let's talk about Petito while we're at it, so I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
forget. We
Oh,
almost
yeah.
left this off of our docket today and then realized that we were making a huge mistake. Gabby Petito's family has filed a $50 million lawsuit against the Moab police. $50 million. They are literally saying that had they done their jobs, Gabby would still be alive.
Yeah.
$50 million. So I want to read you a little bit of what their attorney said. Now they have had to, of course, get new attorneys from Utah in order to have this case. And you guys are going to be very interested in this. I'll tell you in a minute. The lawyers said, had police officers in that incident had proper training, teaching them to conduct a thorough lethality assessment and recognized signs of abuse, they'd know Gabby was a victim of intimate partner violence and needed immediate protection. One of the things that they're really hitting on were the injuries on Gabby's face. And we discussed those too when all of the
Mhm.
police cams came out, right?
Mhm.
She had a scratch on her cheek and on her eye that were bleeding.
Yeah.
And the police completely ignored those injuries.
Yeah. She also cried and sobbed
Mhm.
through the whole thing,
Mhm.
and there was never any question about why is she so upset,
Mhm. Yep.
because Brian was not upset at all.
Mhm.
He was schmoozing and, you
Mhm.
know, sucking those cops in, and it worked. They
Mhm.
completely fell for him.
Yep. So here's what her attorney said, or their attorney says. While the full evidence has not yet been made public, so there's more that we don't know about yet, when it is released, it will clearly show that if the officers had been properly trained and followed the law, Gabby would still be alive today. Failure to follow the law can have deadly consequences, as it did in this case. The Moab City Police Department has had chronic problems with protecting domestic violence victims and failing to provide training and resources for officers.
Yeah.
So, this is an ongoing issue with the Moab Police Department. According to the attorney's name, hold on to your hats. This will mean something to some of you.
Is it Curtin McConkie?
It is James McConkey.
Oh, but there are
It's
several
not Curtin
McConkie
McConkey. Yeah,
attorneys.
it's not Curtin McConkey, but James McConkey is two things that you guys will find, I think, very interesting. Or maybe you won't, but I did. This is James W. McConkey III. And we've talked in the past about the fact that McConkeys have been leaders in the Mormon church for a long time, as well as attorneys that have worked for and alongside the church for a long time, the
Mhm.
Mormon church, right? So James McConkey is a member of the Quorum of the 70.
Oh boy. Really?
Yeah, which means why would they choose him, in my opinion?
Why?
Why? Why?
Why?
Why? Uh, and here's why, and if I offend anyone, I apologize. But my belief all along has been that part of what happened with the Moab police is that this is Utah, where we are very patriarchal and the men's word will always have more weight than the women's. And this is the seat of the Mormon church that has major hallmarks of covering up abuse for men in their church. And I'm
Yeah, have you
kind
seen
of
the Associated Press article?
astonished. Right. Brand new one. I am completely astonished that they hired a Mormon, especially high ranking Mormon attorney. End of story. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me be wrong. Please let me be wrong.
It
I'm
it
just
seems like
surprised.
it seems like a tactic to me.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe there was a reason behind it. Or maybe it just doesn't matter and I'm being unfair. But I was surprised.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And, if you are still lost as to why that matters, the whole debacle last fall and meltdown of Mark Means because Lori from the mental hospital supposedly made a call to the church's attorneys. She called a law firm called Curtin McConkey and spoke to who is either James's brother or cousin,
Mhm.
or supposedly did. That all got murky. But anyway, isn't that weird? It's just weird.
Yeah, it is. Lately, all roads lead back to Mormon church in some way. This has happened over and over
Yeah.
again with our
Yeah.
cases lately. It's weird. Some of them,
Hmm.
it's intentional because we're meaning to cover a case like that. But there
Yeah.
are quite a few that we didn't even know there was a connection.
Yeah. Oh, now that's interesting. Robert Hedrell says he just saw a documentary on Ted Bundy with a connection to James McConkey.
Well, I mean, Ted Bundy did live in Utah, did live in Salt Lake City. I mean,
He did. It could
um,
be.
yeah,
Now we'll have to look that up. That's interesting. The plot thickens yet
right?
again. Yeah. Good Lord. Anyway, so there you go. We'll see how this plays out. However, I was super interested in what he said that all the evidence isn't out yet. And then he alleged that this is an ongoing problem in Moab with the police protecting batterers. So
Uh,
very interesting.
mhm.
Good good point, Paula. She said it might give more weight to their case if the judge is Mormon as well.
Which, I mean, it's a very high probability that the judge will be
Hmm.
Mormon.
She also said if the attorney is not Mormon, I think they would not be as well respected in Utah. Very good points, Paula.
That's
Very
what
good
I
points.
think. That's why I think it's a tactic.
Hmm. Hmm. Well,
Mm.
there you go. Also, this week, Gabby Petito's mom donated $100,000 to a women's domestic violence shelter or center.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep. They are going full bore, boy. And
They
she
are. I
said
think
that
it's great.
in a press conference yesterday. She said, "We are not going to stop. We're going to do everything we can do."
Good.
So good for them. Keep going. So
Yeah.
I guess the whole Moab Police Department has to be on the FOS list.
Yeah. Well, they already were, man.
They
I
really were.
I was so unimpressed
Yeah.
watching that. Here's the thing: if they had even just followed their own law, which that they should have arrested Gabby.
Hmm.
If she was the batterer, he had marks. They should have arrested her, and they did not.
Yeah.
What if they had arrested her, and that would have separated these two and kept
Hmm.
them apart, and maybe her mother or her family would have come to bail her out and help her or something. Even if they had treated her like the batterer,
Hmm.
it still could
Yeah.
have been a better outcome.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I That's the one thing, Christy, that still really gets me too, though, is the way she cried.
I
The
know.
way she cried, was uncontrollably crying, and the way they were just overlooking that
Oh
crying.
yeah, they were just ignoring. She's just a crazy bitch.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and yucking it up with stupid Brian laundry.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so typical, gross, good old
Hmm.
boys crap.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Very, very frustrating. Oh yeah, I googled it. There is a connection between James McConkey and Ted Bundy. Yep. Interesting. All right. We won't be able to do it tonight, but we will research that and update. Good
Mhm.
job, Rhombohedral. Great, great eyes.
Yeah.
Yep. And or ears, whatever. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, panic attack, Janet, for sure. It was horrifying the way she
Yeah,
was
she
crying.
was she was
Horrifying.
hysterical,
Yeah.
and they did not care. That just to them confirmed that she's just crazy.
Hmm.
God.
Well, let's move forward because we do have so much tonight. But
Mhm.
two big updates in old cases that we have been reporting on. So,
Mhm.
Christy, first talk to us about Ellen Greenberg.
Yeah, oh my goodness, you guys,
This
I
is
am so
huge.
happy about this.
Hmm.
You may remember we covered Ellen Greenberg's case
Hmm.
at least a year ago, probably more. Um, she was a school teacher in Philadelphia. She was found stabbed to death in her apartment in January of 2011. She had
Yeah.
just sent out the save the dates because she and her fiance were getting married. And she was stabbed all over the front of her body and her head and the back of her body. Like it stabbed in the head, stabbed in the neck, in her back,
Uh-huh.
right? And the medical examiner's office initially called it a suicide.
Yeah.
Then they changed it to a homicide, and then they changed it back.
Yeah.
That the manner of death was suicide, that she literally stabbed herself in the back of the head and the neck.
Yeah.
Like it's the stupidest crap I've ever seen. There's a lot there's some major bullshit going on.
Oh,
However,
crazy.
finally, her poor family, they have just not let up because
No. They have fought and fought and fought and fought.
yeah. And so her parents, Sandy and Josh, have been pushing for answers forever and trying to get someone to listen that calling this a suicide is the dumbest thing anyone's ever heard.
Hmm.
So her parents did file a lawsuit against the medical examiner's office. And so they were trying to get the cause of death changed either back to homicide or undecided.
Hmm.
Undecided. I
Yeah.
mean,
Also, have you ever heard of a case where they flip flop that many times?
no.
She did it to herself. No, she didn't. We don't know. We're not sure. It might have been a ferret. We're not sure. I mean, they just
Right.
keep changing back and forth. All this
A
stupid
ghost
shit.
came in and stabbed her in the back of the head. Like
Yeah.
it's so stupid.
Yeah.
So one of the things that has come to light is that um, Ellen's fiance, his uncle, came in and took some things from the apartment after the crime scene was supposedly cleared,
Mhm.
but he took 2 laptops and a cell phone.
Mhm.
And so those have not been able to be evaluated,
Yeah.
and that evidence has now been tampered with.
Mhm.
So here's the statement that has now come out from the Attorney General's office. Ellen's death is nothing short of a tragedy, and our heart goes out to her family and friends. Her death is unimaginable and admittedly hard to accept, but all of the evidence thoroughly reviewed by our office and the findings of the medical examiner show it was a suicide. Again, what the fuck? Allegations of new evidence have been unfounded. While it was heartbreaking to everyone that our investigation didn't find the resolution her family wanted in this bizarre and perplexing case, there is nothing more for our office to do until and if legitimate new evidence is brought forward. At this time, no such information has been shared with our office, notwithstanding our request for interested parties to provide any relevant information. So there has been a change.org petition going around trying to get the case reopened. It has 145,000 signatures. Um, on Wednesday this week, maybe last week, I think actually, the attorney that represents the Greenbergs confirmed with the news that Chester County District Attorney would investigate the case. So even after all of this, the district attorney in this county is like, I'm going to take this on and look at it again.
Uh-huh.
So that is fabulous news for
Mhm.
Ellen's family.
Yeah.
I'm just thrilled because I have just this case has made me sick ever since we covered it. Like, how in the hell do you stab yourself in the back of the head
Yeah.
multiple times,
And
as
in the
if,
back.
and
Yeah.
in the back?
Also,
Like,
how do you stab yourself 40 times?
yeah,
How?
at some point you're gonna die. Like, it's so dumb. Yeah,
Yeah. Or just not have the strength or the wherewithal to just keep going. I mean, come on. Who does
yep,
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely not. So excellent
That's
news for
awesome
Ellen's
news.
family, and for the community at large, because frankly, what kind of incompetence have we got going on in this place
Mhm.
that they didn't take any of the electronics to review them? They didn't, all this flip-flopping, about the cause of death.
Mhm.
eh,
The behavior of the boyfriend too.
Very sketchy,
Very
very sketchy.
sketchy. Cranky, yes. I do think it was her boyfriend. I do. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of people think, but
Mhm.
when they call it a suicide, then
Yeah.
nothing gets investigated.
Yep.
So
Unreal.
we will keep an eye because hopefully we're going to get at least a decent resolution out of this for her family.
Yeah, for sure. Eliza said that's like the guy who was hanged on fire and they called it a suicide.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I know which case you're talking about, but yes. Uh, we've discovered since our foray into true crime how often suicides or homicides do get written off as suicides. It's an uncomfortable amount of times.
It's way easier. There's way less work
Mhm.
involved.
Yep.
And it's sad to say it that way, but
Yeah.
I mean, reality,
Yep.
that's what happens.
Yep. Well, there's one other case that has a major breakthrough this week. It's an MMIW we've been tracking. We reported on it more than a year ago.
Yeah.
So, Kristi, talk to us about Jamie Yazzie.
Yes. So when we covered Jamie Yazzie, she was still missing. Um,
Yeah.
but her remains were recovered after we had covered her case.
Mm-hmm.
Um, her remains were found on the Hopi Indian Reservation in November last year,
Mm-hmm.
which within like a week of the time that we covered her case.
Mm-hmm.
Good news though, a federal grand jury has returned an 8-count indictment against her boyfriend for first-degree murder. His name is Trey James, and he is accused of first-degree murder and domestic violence.
Yep.
And this is good news for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
frankly. So some of the allegations. Also, it's not just her. He's got charges of domestic violence against 3 women.
Yeah.
Those allegations include suffocation, strangling, kidnapping, and assault with a dangerous weapon. The other 2, I believe, are alive, but he's, being charged with her death. But
Yeah.
so often these MMIW murders never get solved, never get anything, never even get an arrest.
This is
So
a rarity. Yeah.
this is big news because this is an arrest with a grand jury indictment.
Yep.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Amazing news.
very, very
Yeah.
happy for her and for her family who have been
Yeah.
fighting really hard for her.
Yes. Absolutely. Hey, Erin. Unfortunately, one family who's been fighting very hard got some really disappointing and frustrating news this week.
Oh,
Yeah, and that is that a Mississippi grand jury has declined to indict Carolyn Bryant Donham. Carolyn is the woman who claimed that 14-year-old Emmett Till had made some kind of physical advances on her, uh, and recanted that down the road. But she wasn't arrested at the time. In 1955, her husband and his best friend were tried for Emmett's death because they did beat him to death and threw him in the river. And they were exonerated by an all white jury. And then in an interview later on, they both admitted to doing it and laughing about it. Like, this was just such a blase thing. Well,
so sick.
looking back over this case here a couple of months ago, attorneys discovered an arrest warrant for Carolyn that had never been served. And it was reported that at the time she had 2 young children and they didn't want to bother her with an arrest warrant. Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
what the hell?
Gosh, wouldn't want to bother someone who, lied and caused someone's death. That would
Right?
suck. So now she is very old. She's on hospice. She is the oldest person to ever be on the FOS list.
Mm-hmm.
And they've decided not to try her, which I'm very disappointed in.
Yes.
The prosecutor busted their ass to try to get her prosecuted. I will say that. There was a good effort put in. But basically, the grand jury said that they just didn't believe that there was enough evidence and current evidence in order to indict her. So that's disappointing.
It's really disappointing. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't care if she's old and sick. She did this,
Yeah.
you know?
And she's got to live out her whole life. I mean, she's in her late 80s now and living comfortably with family. And why? Why? When Emmett Till didn't get that opportunity, he got drug out of his bed in the middle of the night and beat and shot and thrown in a river for doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Colleen says that old racist bag needed to get served. She's living in my neck of the woods now, and she's so upset she might need to move.
Oh, honey.
Yeah.
Inconvenienced?
Mhm.
No. Ugh.
Into a
God.
cinder block house with bars, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
She caused the murder of a 14-year-old kid. It's so fucked up.
Yep. Yes, it is. Very frustrating.
Mm.
Yeah. And speaking of fucked up, do you want to talk to us about the Crumbleys?
Oh boy, if I have to. So the biggest whiners on the FOS list right now
Mm-hmm.
are all kinds of stuff is going on with them. They have trials scheduled in October. They're saying they just don't have enough time to provide an adequate defense, and they need
Oh
more time.
no.
So they're filing for more time, which, oh, who cares,
Mm-hmm.
Also, James Crumbley has got another attorney added to his team.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a hearing coming up on 8/17 to talk about extending their time so they have more time to put together their defense.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just make me want to throw up. So
Mm-hmm.
they're such whiny brats,
They've been whiny since the beginning. Yeah. Even with the shit they did, like the day the shooting happened and the days after, and then to try to just completely overlook that, like it never happened, like they never
Right.
ran, like they never drained Ethan's bank account, like they never
Yeah.
hired themselves some pretty high powered attorneys while they let Ethan sit and have a public defender and completely ignore him.
Right.
Well, they're used to doing that, so it was no big deal, but
Right. That's
yeah.
pretty much been his whole life, obviously. I
Hmm.
don't know. They just make me ill. They're such jerks.
Yeah.
But this whining, it's just this whiny, but Your Honor, we just
Hmm.
don't have enough time.
Yeah. Karens and Kens. There you go, Eliza. Yeah. Hmm.
Very much.
Yep. Colleen said she volunteers to be the FOS representative
Oh,
for
nice.
Carolyn. So yes, please, you're
Feel
in.
free.
Yes. Cranky also said take her, walk her away. Yeah, and her
I
teeth.
mean, Emmett Till never got to live his life, and she got to
Yeah.
live hers, and that
Yep.
is not okay.
Yeah. Well, there you have that. So I have a picture to show you. Yeah, this rancid bag of great value mayonnaise, of course, is Murdaugh, Alex Murdaugh. And he too is a big whiner on the FOS list, And this is really just because we know that Ghislaine Maxwell is actually quiet for a minute because she would definitely be there too, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But let's talk about this for just a minute because good hell. First of all, his accomplice, the guy who couldn't shoot him in the head. Yeah. He's out
Yeah.
on bond and is
The
apparently.
unsuccessful assisted suicide.
Hmm. Well, that dude's out on bond, and his name is Curtis Eddie Smith. And now we know too that he actually was a drug trafficker and with Alex, and worked and also cashed something like 700 checks for him or something like that. He was a lot
Mhm.
more than his unsuccessful assassin. He's lots of things, but apparently he's out on bond and he has been effing around and they've had enough of him. So he's going back to court tomorrow to decide if the judge feels like his bond should be revoked. Yes, sir, it should. Come
Yeah,
on now. Yeah.
no question.
Yep. All the great value mayonnaise that's been sitting out in the sun at 90 degrees. Yes. Yes, Cranky. I'm
Mhm.
with you. Yep. Okay, so there's that. Well, here's the deal. So, Murdaugh is a defendant in the case that resulted in the death of the girl. It's the boat wreck, right? It's
Oh,
the girl who
yes.
was killed in the boat wreck, and his son was involved in that. Murdaugh, his boat was the boat that killed her, and also he had done some sketchy things. I know this will surprise you in trying to help cover this up. So he's named as
He's
a
generally
defendant
such a
in this
stand-up
case.
guy.
Yeah. So his attorneys have been trying to make that case have a stay. They've been demanding a stay because they say that that could tarnish his reputation and he could not receive a fair trial on the murder charges if this other case is allowed to proceed.
Tarnish his reputation?
Those were my
His
words, but
soul
basically,
is
yes.
black and we all know it. Give me a break. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
It's just not. But I had to read you a little bit of the filing because it's so freaking funny. Oh, please tell me I didn't close it. Come on now. If I closed it, I have to look it up. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is the filing. This is the plaintiff's memorandum in opposition to a defendant, Richard Alexander Murdaugh's motion to stay discovery and continue to trial. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm just going to read you the first few lines because these guys are class acts. Hilarious. Despite the hype that defendant Murdaugh is attempting to spew concerning his purported constitutional rights, it is the law of the land that a criminal defendant like Alex Murdaugh has no absolute constitutional rights to a stay of a related case, much less one that is only partially related at best, even in the face of concerns over the impact of the civil matter might have on his assertion of a Fifth Amendment privilege, despite the hype that defendant Murdaugh is attempting to spew. Chef's kiss. I
Mhm.
love it. And you want to know what's really weird about this? I read through the whole thing and everything was spelled right.
What?
Everything.
I'm
And I
so
know,
impressed. They're just not Mark Means. Like he's not representing anyone in this case, which I think is good.
but this would be the kind of thing he'd jump in the middle of, I think,
Oh hell yeah.
if he could. Yeah. hmm
Hmm.
But anyway, so the judge said no, no, no. So it's not happening. So you are going to court. Great value mayonnaise and good luck to you. No, actually, bad luck to you. All the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I kind of feel like getting up every morning and posting on social media. Good morning, everyone, except you, Alex Murdaugh. You know.
Right.
A bad day to you, sir.
Mhm.
But then I think I'm not that petty, but the truth is I actually am. 1000% that petty. Yeah.
Well, when it comes to Alex Murdaugh, hell yeah.
Mhm. Without a doubt. Let's see. Oh, Saeed.
Hmm.
Talk to us about this fool.
Well, you'll recall we have covered this case. This is the murders of Sarah and Amina Saeed. Their father has been on the run for 12 years after they were found shot in his taxi, and he has been missing for quite some time. He was finally arrested in 2020 and did finally face a jury. And verdict came through on Tuesday, guilty.
Yeah.
For the capital murders of both his daughters.
Mhm.
He's so awful.
Mhm.
The one daughter, Sarah, actually called 911 and identified the shooter before she died.
And said, "I'm dying."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Said, I'm dying. Help. My dad shot me. I'm dying.
Mhm.
They had already been afraid of him, afraid for their lives. They
Mhm.
were acting like American teenagers because that's what they were. But
Mhm.
dad did not like their behavior and like them dating boys and stuff. And so he apparently felt that he was justified in killing them.
Yeah.
On killing. It's
Yep.
so horrible.
Yep.
His story is that someone was following them. He thought that that person was after him, not the girls, so he left them in the car and took off on foot, thinking they'd
Mhm.
follow him instead of the girls, and
Yeah. Yep.
whatever. He's
Well, we
such a
also learned
jackass.
how obsessed he was with these girls. Like
Yeah,
he was
he was
spying on
following
them
them.
everywhere
Yeah,
they went and like it was super creepy shit. Yeah.
yeah,
But yay, arrested,
yeah.
charged, convicted. We'll take it.
Yes, I'm glad. Glad that he is out of here. He's a terrible person.
Well, tomorrow is an interestingly busy day in true crime in general, because two interesting things are going down. First of all, the police announced today that there is a press conference tomorrow to update the Harmony Montgomery case.
Yeah.
So you might remember that Harmony Montgomery's uh, an apartment that her parents had lived in, her dad and stepmom had lived in around the time of her disappearance, had been torn up not too long ago by the police, right? They went in, they tore out some wallboard, they tore out some floorboard, they did quite a bit of stuff. They removed the refrigerator and replaced it with a new one, and they did a bunch of scoping of the sewer and scoping of the pipes in that building. And we've been waiting all summer long to see if that was going to turn anything up. And tomorrow there's a press conference. So everyone's hoping that that's what this is about and that we'll finally start seeing some charges.
Yeah.
Because as of yet, while her dad and stepmom have been charged with other things, they haven't been charged with murder.
No.
And we're wondering why.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited to see what happens with that. I'm hoping that's going to start to provide some answers as to what happened to Harmony, get some answers for her mom, who has all this time been begging someone to care enough about her daughter to notice that she was missing and do something about it.
Yeah.
And finally, when she got the mayor in their town involved, that finally happened.
Yeah.
But Harmony fell through the cracks for way too long. So that's happening. But also tomorrow is Scott Peterson's big moment in court.
Yes.
So he has been fighting for a new trial. And he's had several breakthroughs. I don't know, you guys. He may get it. So they were supposed to go to court on June. Yeah, they were supposed to go to court on June 29th, but he was exposed to COVID in his prison. And so they had to put it off. So, of course, he was convicted in 2004 of murdering his wife, Lacey, and their unborn son. And then in 2020, the California Supreme Court overturned his death sentence and ordered the case to be re-examined. Partly because they feel like there was prejudicial misconduct by a juror. This is Rochelle Neese, who allegedly lied about her history of legal proceedings and her history of domestic violence. She also wrote him dozens of letters after he went to prison asking him why he did this. There's definitely some weird shit with her. I could slap jurors who keep pulling shit like this, though. You know?
Right.
You have got to quit it. We keep seeing jurors shooting off their mouths after trials in ways that are causing the trial to be re-examined. It's got to stop.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on with that. So tomorrow is their last day in court. And then the judge will have like 90 days to answer. So final arguments tomorrow and then 90 days to have an answer. So we'll see. It's possible that Scott Peterson will get a new trial.
Because his sentence has already been reduced from death penalty to not death penalty.
Yeah. One of the things that came up that they were acting like was really important, and I think this is the weirdest thing, is that in jury deliberations, she was referring to Connor, the unborn baby, as little man. Why is that anything? Why?
I don't know.
Isn't that odd?
Did Scott refer to that baby as little man? Where did that nickname come from?
I don't know. It's just so weird.
That's weird. Or Lacey. Did either of them refer
to the baby? I don't know.
Yikes.
But a lot of people call little boys little man. That's not uncommon. That's the thing that Dior Koontz was always called.
Right.
And people still post stuff on Facebook about wanting to know where little man has gone, you know. So I don't know why that's a smoking gun of any sort, but anyway. Crazy stuff. So we're going to keep an eye on that and keep you guys abreast. So I'm going to look at my list and make sure. We had Daybell, Montgomery, Murdaugh, Peterson, Till, Crumbley, Yazzie, Saeed, and Greenberg, and Petito. So, okay, we got
Yeah.
to everything. However, let's see. Colleen, you were wanting to know who is the
Oh, yeah. What
jurisdiction
department?
over that. I'm going to have to find it. I could tell you until you asked. You know how that works?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I will find that for you. However, that's going to be really interesting. Actually, you know what? I have an easier way to find this.
Oh.
Oh, I wanted to tell you guys an interesting story though that came up in the Nicholas Cruz sentencing.
Mm.
So Nicholas Cruz, of course, is the Parkland shooter, and he's been going through his sentencing portion of his trial at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And after the shooting was done, and he fled the school, he walked into a McDonald's and he sat down next to a student from his school, a kid named John Wilford.
Mm-hmm.
John was in shock. He was just wanting to get home. He was waiting there for his mother to come pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
And Cruz sat down at his table and struck up a conversation with him. He had no idea. He was wearing a uniform from their school, so he knew he was from their school,
Mm-hmm.
but didn't know anything about who he was. Asked if he could get a ride home. And this kid said no, because he was really worried about his sister, who turned out was gravely injured. She didn't die, but she was horrifically injured. This guy shot him 3 times.
Mm.
Shot
Shot her.
Sorry, he shot her. Shot John's sister 3 times. And just happened to show up in this McDonald's, sit down next to John, and try to get him to give him a ride home. Can you believe that?
That is horrifying.
He said he had a bad feeling at the time, was just really upset and shaken up, and just wanted to get back to his family and figure out where his sister was. So he told him, no, we just can't. This is a bad time. Yeah. And then 40 minutes later, he was apprehended by the police. Can you believe that?
That the guts of that is so terrifying and gross.
To me too. I'm just blown away. I mean, he probably didn't know that he'd shot this kid's sister, but he knew he'd shot up his school.
Right.
So, like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's terrifying.
it is terrifying. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, it is the New Hampshire Attorney General and the Manchester Police. So, I think it'll be the Manchester Police. They are the ones who have done all of the updates and things like that up to this point. So
so
that's
probably.
who I would watch for. It's Manchester, New Hampshire Police on Facebook. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming it's them.
I'm sure just a quick search you'd find it.
Yeah. Yeah. Shouldn't be too hard to come across. I'm sure a lot of places will stream it as well. So hopefully something comes of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and Amy, yes, Alex Jones is going to be broke for a long time. Well, I don't know if he will be, because Texas has caps on civil suits. And although he's ordered, close to $50 million, that's way above what the actual cap is. He won't pay anywhere near that. However, he's also got a case going on in Connecticut, and they don't have a cap. So hopefully this just continues to whittle away at him.
Yep. Well, and that news about his phone and the naked picture of his wife is pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he sent a naked picture of his own wife to Roger Stone. She did not know. She made a statement yesterday that she's very upset and had no idea that had happened.
Yeah, that's just gross.
And that there was some very intimate texts exchanged between Roger Stone and Alex Jones.
Gross.
Yeah. Yeah. Real gross. Yep. I'm here for it, though. I'm here for all the Alex Jones stuff. I am here for it.
Oh
The stuff
man,
that he's
he's
done is so reprehensible. But the
hmm
thing that kills me is you go to any article about Alex Jones and read the comments, and there are people right and left defending the hell out of him.
oh yeah, bought into all that InfoWars insanity.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But also, people are so misinformed about what the First Amendment is. And
Yes,
I think grossly and willfully uninformed about the First Amendment, but they are just determined that this is a violation of his First Amendment rights. Because I guess they don't understand the difference between a criminal suit and a civil suit,
right.
as well as that First Amendment rights do have limitations.
Well, first of all, they prevent you from being consequenced for speaking out against the government.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saying lying bullshit about people is not a First Amendment right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is in that you can say it and
Yeah.
you can also reap the consequences.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that's pretty much where it's at. It's not
Yes,
a
it is.
violation of his rights in any way.
No, it surely isn't.
It kills me, honestly, that people keep saying this like that's a fact and truth. No, it isn't. Not at all.
I regularly hear people talk about things being unconstitutional, and it's very clear to me that they've never read the Constitution.
Yeah.
I don't have any
Yeah.
idea what it actually says.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, that happens all the time. But this idea that you can do whatever the hell you want and you're protected by the Constitution because of free speech or because of freedom, no,
That's not true.
just not
No.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you have it. That was a mouthful.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Lots going on right now.
Yep, for sure. Yep. All righty. Well, I don't know. He buried something with Ivana? I don't know, Barbara. Did he? The stuff
Or
the
is it?
FBI was looking for? I don't know. I don't know. I won't say
Uh,
much about that because I don't want my channel to get taken down.
mhm.
Because that's when the trolls really come for you.
Yeah.
I mean, we got hit pretty hard on that fool that, whose grandpa was the judge. I don't want to say
Kyle
his
Rittenhouse,
name.
not friend of the show. Yep.
Yeah, but yep, can't do it. Don't want to get taken down. Alrighty, well, we have done it. So we'll be back tomorrow night for the Psychic Hour at 7. If
Mhm.
you are a subscriber to the Psychic Hour, if you are not, it's 99 cents a month. You just have to go to YouTube. Right on our homepage of YouTube, there's a spot that says join
Mhm.
or membership. All you have to do is
It
join.
says join.
Join. Just join. 99 cents a month. That's it. And then you can come to the Psychic Hour. If you are on Patreon and you've had a hard time watching, we think we figured it out and gotten the bugs
No
out.
worries. I have
If you're a
solved this
patron, you don't have to do anything. You should be able to just access the Psychic Hour through
on
Patreon
Patreon.
for free. No big deal.
Yeah.
So that's what that's what's happening with the Psychic Hour. And that's it. Otherwise, we'll be back next week with new cases. There is a lot happening right now. I'm having a
Mhm.
hard time picking what to cover this next week. We also have a
I've already picked
brand
mine.
new Patreon.
Yes, we do.
We've had 3 new Patreons come out in the last week.
We have.
So definitely worth looking for. But this last one, oh,
Not
this
for the faint of heart.
no, this was for the hardest of hardcore true crimers. It will make your stomach hurt.
Mhm.
But it's pretty fascinating stuff. And let's just say it's about dolls. Dolls. It's about dolls. Let's say that. That's all we'll
Okay.
say.
Sure.
Okay. We also last week covered, we did a cold read on Patreon, Who Killed Catherine Corkery. I cold read that one.
Mhm.
And right before that, we did an episode called The Happiest Place on Earth. Not so fast. About some Disney crime that we found pretty fascinating. So
Mhm.
that's
And
what's
hilarious.
up. Yep. OJR would love a link to Patreon. We'll put it up, JR, for sure. Yep. Alrighty, guys, we gotta go. So thank you for being here. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you all for being here live with us as well. And if you weren't and you're joining later, thank you too. Appreciate all of you guys very much. And keep an eye on Tuesday, and we'll see what we can do with the Vallow. What do we call that? The belligerent turd circus. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's gonna get interesting. Yeah.
And I did just post that Patreon. We're True Crime Squad on Patreon.
Yes. Yep. All righty, guys. Thanks so much. Have a good night. Go eat a cookie. You deserve it. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad. Take care.
Bye, everybody.